We're sitting here in studio with Ruben Luengas of En Contexto on Telemundo every night in Los Angeles, around the world, on Telemundo, and part of our KPFK family with, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce the show, so you can pronounce it.
Contragolpe. That means counterpunch.
Counterpunch, which is a great name. And when does that air?
Just to promote. It's on Wednesday, 9:30.
Okay, Wednesday, 9:30.
Every night.
In Espanol.
In Espanol, and it's been very successful so far.
So the reason I wanted to get you in here was because there's been a lot of immigration news, and we had an interview last week about immigration, but there was an immigration rally when Obama came here, talking about deportation of street vendors. We've had Rhode Island just passed, I think yesterday, the in-state tuition for immigrants, undocumented immigrants in Rhode Island, which now is, I think, the 12th state. And we have Rick Perry, who's running for president, who's been pro-immigrant and has been taking a lot of lumps on the road. And I just want to get your opinion on those issues. And I want to know, first of all, what has Obama done and what should he have done and what can he do for immigrants?
Well, Barack Obama, when he was candidate, he presented in front of the Council of La Raza. And he said things like, we cannot terrorize families with separation of these families and the authorities of ICE going to their homes, blah, 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 blah. So what happened with Barack Obama? Now he's saying we cannot change that because it's against the law. And there have been more deportation with Barack Obama than with Mr. Bush. That is horrible. That's a huge contradiction. That's the Barack Obama candidate and the Barack Obama president acting in a very different way. So still now, today, in the morning, he had a meeting with the Spanish community, and he was talking that still the immigration reform is an issue, and it is really very important, blah, blah, but he's in campaign again.
Yeah.
So in practice, in fact, Barack Obama, for me, has betrayed his own words. Once I had the chance to interview Barack Obama for En Contexto, and it was here in LA. He was visiting a school in East LA. And I was concerned about trying to make questions to all the candidates I had the chance to interview about migration, because sometimes it seems to me that the American people is not aware of the different governments they have had in the past, acting in a very bad way to create the conditions in the original countries to create migration conditions. They are not aware. Once in this program there was a lady.
Yeah, Kasha.
Yeah, I gave a very, very important example that has to do with Guatemala.
Yeah, and the Dole, I think, or not the Dole, one of the fruit companies.
Exactly.
United Fruit.
The United Fruit Company, then. So, and it was really very painful because the United States, through the CIA, support a coup d'etat, create a coup d'etat against Jacobo Arbenz, and then they were supporting, it was Dwight Eisenhower, the president then. So, and then they were supporting dictatorships, criminals, killing people. I was correspondent in Mexico, and I used to go to Guatemala, working from different stations. I can tell you because I've been there in Guatemala. Very horrible things. So they need to face this situation. But recently, Barack Obama, I don't remember where in Latin America, he went a tour in Latin America. He said, let's forget about those kind of things. No, let's not forget. Let's really to inform to the American people. They need these tools to understand that there's a cause and there's an effect. So in this case, I disagree with Barack Obama. I don't like what he has doing about this. And in that interview also, I asked about free trade agreement. Free trade agreement for Mexican people. I'm not talking about the owners of corporations. I'm talking about the Mexican people trying to really bring the food to their families every day. So for them, NAFTA has been horrible. And Barack Obama told me, you are right. Yeah, NAFTA is been very good for corporations, not for the people. If I became president, one of the things I want to do, and I can bring to you for that interview once, if I became president, I'm going to change that because I am aware of that situation. So he's been president. He was in Mexico with Felipe Calderón, and exactly the contrary again. So I am very disappointed.
And now we talk about Bush. Bush was very good on, or at least tried to be good on immigrant rights to the chagrin of his own party, because he was that's something that, and we've seen it with Rick Perry. And I want to jump into that really quickly. When Rick Perry announced, and I had a little discussion with immigration expert for he's a fan of Barack Obama and he wants Barack Obama to win. But I said the minute Rick Perry came in the race with I think he won 41% of the Latino vote in Texas, which is pretty good for a Republican, that Obama released the DHS basically said we're not going to deport people unless they're criminals. And he's trying to kind of make amends with the Latino community. Do you know Rick Perry's stances? I mean, do you know that he is against the wall and he's signed the Texas State Education Act and things like that? Do you think he can give Barack a real challenge in the general election?
In the general election, so I don't trust this Perry guy in the issues of migration because now they are just using this issue for election.
Yeah.
So the difference between a politician and a statesman is that the politician is thinking in the next election, and the statesman could be thinking in the next generation. They are not thinking about the next generation. They are just using and manipulating the issue of migration just for the election. So I don't trust this guy. Don't forget that this guy from Texas was the coordinator of the campaign of Al Gore in Texas. And suddenly he had a big change, and now he's closer to the Tea Party ideas. And I don't trust these guys at all. So for me, and Bush was not either very good.
Yeah.
When you said that he was very nice, he has a brother that is married with a Mexican woman, blah, blah, blah. But it's when...
It's better for his party. I mean, his party is really bad. I mean, the Republican Party, and then the guy you know kind of well, Sheriff Joe, who you interviewed on En Contexto, or you confronted on En Contexto. You
are Payo?
Yeah.
Oh, you are Payo. That guy is horrible. You are Payo, yes.
But I mean, the guy...
Perry's looking for the support of Joe Arpaio, yeah.
And that was the comment of the last presenter, because agreeing with your point, he said John McCain he had been really, better on immigration issues in his, as a state, as a senator. But then when he ran for president, he went far to the right, got the approval of Sheriff Joe. But my concern with Rick Perry is about it being an election issue is that he's stayed pretty strong as the crowds have booed him. I mean, I don't know if you watched the debates, but he's getting hit with this left and right. Every time he mentions anything positive about immigrants, he gets booed. Like he said, one of the things he said, this is, about signing this in-state tuition for undocumented immigrants was, he said, this is the American way. It doesn't matter what your last name sounds like. And he gets booed and he gets booed and he gets booed. I mean, this could cost him the election. That's why I'm concerned if you want Barack to win or you want someone else to win, this guy could be a big problem.
So, in my opinion, either of these guys is going to be practically the same for Mexican immigration.
Yeah.
If we don't fix the economy, because I brought this book.
Yeah.
This book, They Take Our Jobs, is the name of the book. Aviva Chomsky.
Yeah.
You told me she's been here with you in your show.
Yeah,
Aviva
she came on our show.
She destroyed 20 myths about migration. And one of the most important is starting with the situation of the economy. If we don't go to the root for the American people to understand this, it's going to be very difficult to get lost in this laberinto, how do you say laberinto? Labyrinth of this situation just for going to the White House. So, where is it? Give me just a moment.
No, take your time.
I get lost.
Sorry, G.
Well, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry. Okay, anyway, I can continue. Okay. Dice, the first fallacy lies in the very concept of American jobs. In fact, today's economy is so globally integrated that the idea of jobs having a national identity is practically useless. That is really very important because they first destroy, through NAFTA, they destroy in Mexico the activity of the traditional activity of the Mexican peasant in the countryside. So they are just looking for a job now where? In the maquiladoras. The maquiladoras is a creation of NAFTA. And then the maquiladoras are moving to other places outside Mexico for different reasons. There's no an identity like many people think about the nationality of these jobs in globalization. They are just looking for exploiting very, very poor people like in Mexico, Latin America, in other countries. So I would invite people don't get lost with these promises and these ideas in immigration because in the same time, they perfectly know they need these people working. For instance, recently I went to the Salinas Valley. in California. Very few people know that the 80% of vegetables in the United States, in the whole country, that are on the table of the American people, 80% are produced there in Salinas Valley in California. And who is doing that? Immigrants without documents.
Yeah.
And mostly Mexicans.
Yeah. And that's another reason Rick Perry, because, he's talked about his Texas miracle, which is not really a miracle at all, but about jobs and cheap labor. I mean, he needs the immigrants, as you're just pointing out. He needs them because he needs that cheap labor. I mean, that's the cheap labor force. These companies don't have to pay legal wages. They don't have to pay health care. They don't have to pay anything.
Exactly. Now in Georgia, also with these kind of laws and these kind of things, there are people that are escaping there because they are just receiving this war against them, and the cucumbers are just there, no, they are losing. Yeah. So what is going to happen with this situation? That is something to look at it. But in the other hand, don't destroy the Mexican economy. Allow people really to make elections. And if there's like Andrés Manuel López Obrador back in 1986, that was the real winner of this election, in my opinion. So don't support governments that are not really emerging from real elections and those kind of, no?
Yeah, and then also try to help, don't fight the war on drugs, but the military complex try to fight the supply.
Exactly.
I think Calderon was the one who said, you can't fight, it's like turning on a hose. The hose is in the U.S., it's flowing, and you're trying to stop it here. You can't, that's just not going to work.
Exactly, that's another point, yeah. So all is together connected. Connected. So little by little, we are just facing this situation, and it's horrible. With NAFTA, with the other president, Vicente Fox, before Calderon. So at least between 2 or 3 millions of people start coming to the United States to look for a job.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, what happened there? Illegals. Okay, don't help those economical policies in Mexico that are destroying these people.
Yeah.
No?
And then just really quickly to wrap up here, and again, I want to just say as station identification, we're speaking with Ruben Luengas of KPFK and Telemundo 52 every night on En Contexto. I think it's 11:30, right?
En Contexto is 11 every night.
Every night
11 in channel 52.
And every Wednesday you have Counterpunch.
Every Wednesday Counterpunch here
on KPFK.
In KPFK.
But really quickly, what's the bright? Is there a bright future? Or do we have to kind of find a candidate who's willing to kind of stand up to everything, or are we going to have to browbeat Obama into getting some kind of rights for immigrants and make it right, both in Mexico and the United States?
In my opinion, we need something like the civil rights movement with Martin Luther King, something like that. It's not depending really of Democrats, Republicans. We need a movement. Maybe we are looking for our own Martin Luther King, or maybe too many Martin Luther Kings, or something like that. That would be my opinion. And to finish, as you said, I recommend a book, War Against the Weak. War Against the Weak is a very important book written by Edwin Black. He explored, he got a Pulitzer Prize, Eugenics and Americans' Campaign to Create a Master Race. So these guys that practice the eugenics here in the United States, their ideas still exist. They are giving money and funding, supporting with money many of the laws against migration that we are having in Arizona and different places in the United States. And most of the people, they have no idea about this, the eugenics. So that's why if they want to go back to this history, War Against the Weak, very important, even before Hitler trying to create a master race here. So it's connected to this environment that we are living in USA against migration.
Well, thank you as always for joining us and giving us a piece of your mind.
Thank you for inviting me.
No problem. Have a great day.
Thank you. Remember, my English is still,
because
good. I write in Spanish, I work in Spanish, I talk in Spanish every day with my wife. So I live here, but all the time it's Spanish. So sorry for my English.
No, it's perfect.
Once I said that.